2. What's happening, YouTube? You back in the building with the Avengers of Life games and current culture. It's me. It's the homie, the living legend, Larry. How you feeling today, brother?
Man, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling like Black Lives Matter. I'm feeling like my life matters.
I'm feeling like I'm ready for a black Superman. Yes.
There we go. There we go.
Superman.
Can we get the almighty Killmonger as Superman?
I hope they do. You know, that was a rumor last year, and the white people went nuts about it. But it is what it is, and we ain't going to let that stop the show. What's up, Trisha C?
This would be great. How about if we get Killmonger as Superman, and then we have a universe mashup where he goes over to Wakanda and takes his rightful place on the throne.
Man, here we go. This is all you're going to get the whole day with this book. Here we go with this mess, man. This is it. No more Killmonger for you.
Go ahead and burn all that.
My king, we cannot do that. It is our tradition.
When I tell you to do something, I mean that shit. Burn it all!
Okay, so yeah, that is Larry's fix for the day. No more Killmonger on the rest of the day. Now, folks, we've got a nice show we think lined up for you all. We're going back to the roots we started with in March. We're going to talk about the Shy, of course, but we're also going to dig into politics and why they trying to bash my man, Dr. Fauci. It makes no sense. We got that punk-ass Jim Jordan from Ohio asking stupid questions, trying to exploit individuals who are not that bright. We got to talk about that. We've got some Marvel news. Speaking of Moon Knight, he's kind of Marvel's Batman. And then we're going to finish on a big stock story with Apple doing a split. What does a split mean? How can you benefit? And I'm going to walk you through a trade I did with Larry in which I've got the stock, possession of the stock now. But having said that, let me shout out to everybody. Cornell Brown, Support Gaming, Trisha C, my folk Buzz, what's up, homie? Support Gaming, Miss Chris. We got the whole crew in here. And before we get into the bitter stories of politics, let us start off with a little bit of what we think is going to happen on The Shy. Episode 7 coming up. Let's take a look at everything we know to this moment of what's going to happen.
It's been 2 months. It's time for us to start the grieving process.
Oh, get out.
Y'all want me to evict Sonny?
We the next generation.
We the next generation? This ain't Star Trek.
What's up?
Don't be like that.
Like what?
Cold.
When Jake find out you killed his brother, he might wake up with a knife at your throat.
I got unfinished business to take care of.
I'm not giving up hope.
So, y'all want me to evict Sonny? Come on now, that's cold-blooded. Yeah? I was raised on this chicken. You don't like this chicken?
Yeah, I love Sonny like an uncle. He's always been there for me when I needed him, put money in my pocket when I was broke. But the way he doing things ain't working no more. Like, you going up on the rent.
Look, I don't want to. I don't have no choice.
We know that. And the real is he can't afford to pay you, but we can.
Listen, what we're trying to say is we're still gonna call it Sonny's, right? But just for the new generation.
All she's saying is we the next generation.
Yeah.
I mean, next generation? This ain't Star Trek.
Bro, this is a win-win situation. Are you bringing somebody new? They not gonna know the customers. They not gonna know the neighborhood. They not gonna know how shit works. They ain't gonna last. But I'm from that block. I know that kitchen like the back of my hand. We doing you a favor.
Oh, okay, that's what this is. You brought the kid in here, think you was gonna soften me up and I was gonna do whatever you wanted me to do. No, I don't think so, okay? You can't get one over on me.
I'm trying to build a legacy for him.
I'm trying to build a legacy for myself.
Come on, man, the numbers don't lie.
And my food is bomb. Look, I bought you a piece of cake.
You made that cake?
Mm-hmm.
So before we get into that, Buzz, big shout out to you for the super chat. Larry, we know how that man holds us down. Black Lives Matters. And because I got y'all in mind, I have a new pop culture video clip that I'm introducing today, courtesy of Buzz. I'm going to take y'all back with this one. Enjoy.
I'm gonna try to do a little poetry for y'all. It's an original piece written by me, Fly Guy. And I want to dedicate this piece to all you players and all you ladies out there. Name of this piece is called My Bitch Better Have My Money. My bitch better have my money. Through rain, sleet, or snow.
That was a Shakespeare.
My hoe better have my money.
I'm telling you, that boy's a genius. Tell it.
Not half, not some, but all my cash. Because if she don't, I'm gonna put my foot dead in her ass.
Hymn of the year is Try Guys.
Buzz, that's how you make me feel like I'm the pimp of the year, man. I appreciate you every time you show up.
Oh, man.
And whenever you super chat, for those that don't know, I pull out one of those to give you my most gracious thank you, and we appreciate that. So now getting back to business, Larry, what do you think is going to happen in episode 7, given everything we've seen so far this week?
Man, I think that Kev's mom is gonna put out what's the homegirl's name again? Dre,
yeah.
She's gonna put Dre out for saying let's start the grieving process, and then and then from there, Ronnie's gonna go and rescue Keisha, and then Kev's mom's gonna be so thankful she's gonna get with Ronnie, and then Ronnie's gonna move in. They're gonna get married, and Ronnie's gonna be Kevin Keisha's new stepdaddy.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
That's what I think is gonna happen.
Man,
Fight me.
What in the? First of all, man, Kevin's mama don't like penis.
She might. She had to like something. She got 2 kids out of it. She had to like it at some point. Maybe she just needs a trip back.
No, man.
Maybe once
you cross over, you ain't going back, man. That is the most wildest conspiracy I've ever heard in my life. Man, okay, saying, my turn.
Saying, maybe she's not somebody who likes individual genders. Maybe she's someone who's fluid and she likes individual people. And so maybe after Ronnie saves Keisha, she feels so ingratiated to him. She feels so connected and bonded with him that she falls for him, and then he moves in and becomes a new stepdaddy.
Oh, and let me get that. And they might decide. And they might decide to make some kids too, huh? Little Ronnie kids.
That could be it. That could be it. And then they're gonna name the new kid Brandon.
Ladies and gentlemen, comment below if you like that theory. Okay, since he doesn't handle that, let me handle the Emmett situation. All right, and I'm not gonna give y'all the drawing out. The man got me choking over here. Lord have mercy, man. What? And first of all, ladies and gentlemen,
man, you know the theory.
Man, that was some bull jive if I ever heard it. Your ass should run for office because you told that story with a straight face, like it's really gonna happen, like you know it's gonna happen, like you wrote it. I'll vote for you if you can tell me a story like that I can come to my house and my street will be full of gold like I'm going to heaven. You told a good story. So
I have another theory for you, just in case that one doesn't work for you.
Nah, man, save it.
What?
Let me go.
Okay.
Then you can give me some more of your crazy theories.
All right, here you go. Go ahead.
Personally, I don't understand how Emmett and Dominique think they're going to snatch that building out from under Sonny. Even though they're about to go up on his rent, is homeboy basically saying that his contract about to expire? And if he is saying that, Emmett and Dominique don't have no money. They don't have no money. So is he going to
spot? They have a little money because they've been running Sonny's after hours, so they have a little bit of money. So as long as they've been stashing away some of those profits, they might have enough. You know, we'll see. I don't know, but I think that's why they're there talking to that guy to see if they can get in there without having to come out of pocket a whole lot.
Well, here's the issue with that. Let's say they do run Sonny out. You think he's going away quietly?
No, I don't.
No, he's not going away quietly. You're gonna create an enemy out of a former mentor. And in that piece, he said Sonny was basically helping raise him as a young person, giving him money, helping him out, made him a general manager. And then when he realizes you're going to snatch that rug from underneath his feet, bruh, I can tell you right now, business don't work like that. What they're trying to do with Little Red, it don't work like that. It does not work like that. And if this show allows it to work like that, I might quit watching it. Now, Larry, give us your crazy theory.
Well, I mean, just a comment on yours. I really just think that's dirty. I was rooting for Emmett. I can't root for him anymore. I can't root for him. I can't root for Lala or whatever her character's name is. I wasn't rooting for her much to begin with anyways. I don't like her from Jump Street with her whole show me your package stuff. That's just, I mean, she's just an inch away from sexual assault. I don't like it. So
yeah, because if a man would have said that, Larry,
it would have been game over. You know, they would have canceled his ass. So I just, you know, I think they're doing Sonny dirty. I wouldn't be surprised if Emmett and Sonny really end up in it. I don't know how, because I don't think Sonny's going to go out so far as to try and hurt Emmett, but I wouldn't be surprised if Sonny had that place burned to the ground or something. It turned out that Lala was in it.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Because they have to kill her off because she needs to go and work on P-Valley next year.
Man, stop it, man. Here we go. God, what the hell what is she gonna do in P-Valley? You said be a bartender?
Yeah, be a bartender.
Man,
you know?
God,
so here's my other theory, right? So here is my other theory. Well, I had it, now I lost it. I'll come back to my other theory in a minute. I forgot what it was now. It was a good one though.
Well, let me talk about Keisha. They showed an empty room. I don't know if they're trying to prelude something or if they're trying to give us hints. But me and Larry kind of talked about this on Monday. When they showed that empty room, are they basically showing that homeboy left and she's going to finally be able to escape? I don't see them going back and rehashing. Basically, she could have escaped the first time she escaped when he was gone, but she didn't. I don't see them just allowing her to get away on her own. They might, but I don't see that happening. But I do see some situation where homeboy that's got her captured, he doesn't seem like he's that tough. I mean, for real. He might be tougher than her because she's a woman, but man to man, he don't seem like he would be that tough if he was standing looking somebody straight in their face, mano y mano. I don't see that in him. And I see somehow or another her getting away. And a lot of people are expecting it to be this episode. If it is this episode, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be the very last scene in the last 2 minutes. If it's this episode, do you think she's getting out this week, Larry?
This week is episode 7, right?
Episode 7.
No, I don't think she's getting out until. I don't think she's getting out to the end of 8 or maybe 9. They're gonna get her out before the end of the season because I feel like they're gonna need a full episode to sort of reunite and close out that storyline, and so they're not gonna do that on the very last episode. The only way they would finish that story on the very last season if they killed her off. If they straight killed her, then they would end the season maybe at the big finale where bam she's dead and that's that. But what I think might happen is it might turn out that the dude in there is maybe he has some affiliation with Lena Waithe's character, that chick running for mayor, and now she's gonna come in like Captain Sava, and she's gonna end up rescuing her, and it's gonna happen where where maybe there's some cameras around or something. She's gonna come out with this victorious slow motion hero walk as she carries Keisha out in her arms. And then she's gonna save her. She's gonna skyrocket through the polls and end up winning for mayor. And Duda's gonna be back on the streets doing what he does.
Now, what if the opposite happens and Duda was to save Keisha, find her and save her?
I think Duda could find her today if he wanted to. Duda could put his people out there and just be like, you're going to find out who did this, and you're going to run up in people's houses until you find this girl. They might find a whole bunch of other girls that are missing too, but they're going to, Duda, if he wanted to get it done, and he did it the way he does things, it would have been done already.
Well, maybe he just hasn't had the right motivation to get it done yet.
This is true.
You know, if somehow or another Jake goes on ahead and really let it sink in that Duda killed his brother, Jake might turn up the heat. He might start doing stuff in the media to ruin Duda, and Duda might have to go do some kind of act to show Jake that he's a changed person, that he's turning over a new leaf. And what greater act of sanctity than to go and save that darling Keisha?
That could be it. But, you know, I still think they're going to turn Kevin into a killer this year. And I think what might happen is his first kill might be when he kills that chick, the dude that took Keisha. Somehow he might end up at that house with Ronnie or somebody else, and he might end up killing that dude. And that's when he gets his first kill. And you know what happens with some people when they get their first kill, they turn into a werewolf. And just like dude that runs the marijuana shop, we know he's a werewolf on another show. So he might have already hooked up and bit Kev. And now when Kev goes and kills this dude, he's gonna turn into a werewolf. And now we're gonna have werewolves in Chicago. It's gonna be a whole new spinoff of this show.
Man, what's in that cup?
What
the hell is in that cup, man? Look,
we never
man.
know what can happen, right? We just never know.
Look, man, I am for a little wild conspiracy theory when it comes to TV shows. But man, you crossing over, man. Like you talking about vampires in Chicago and stuff, and man,
no, werewolves.
God.
Werewolves.
Lord.
But since you brought up vampires, where there are werewolves, there's generally vampires nearby. So I'm just saying.
Okay. Well,
I'm just saying.
Well, the other thing that I would like to know that I'm not sure is going to happen in this coming episode. When will Jake officially confront Duda? Is it going to be this episode? Do you think?
It might be. It might be, but I think it's going to happen. I think it's going to happen the following episode. I feel like they need to let him sit with that a little bit and let him marinate on it. And let that tension build, and then he'll confront him.
Okay.
So
Nina Boo's Sexy Sanchez, love the name, is basically highlighting the theory that I highlighted about Jake and Gemma getting together. And we've already got 2 emotional roller coasters for each character. With Gemma, Kev is giving her the complete cold shoulder. And with Jake, he is mentally torn up because he's coming to the realization that Duda killed his brother. Then he's got his older brother who just came back into his life after being gone for a long time. He don't really have any trust in him as of yet. So he's torn up emotionally. And now you're going to get these 2 damaged goods linking up as one like they Voltron. I see it happening. And I think we might start to see the beginning of that relationship this episode.
Here's a theory though for you. How about this? Since I'm thinking that they're going to turn Kev into a killer, right? So he kills Keisha's kidnapper, and then since they're saying, "Hey, we have to get you out of town. You can't be here because we don't want the cops picking you up," and then you end up getting into the system. So they move him to New York. When he gets to New York, he ends up hooking up with Tariq, who gives him a scholarship to go to Choate. He ends up hooking up with Effie. And now we have this full circle. We have the Shy and Power all up in one place. I'm just saying, man, anything is possible. This is TV. Who's with me? Somebody in the comment section. Who's with me? Man? Who's with me?
It's too
I'm
early.
throwing out great theories. I'm throwing out some great possibilities, man. Somebody's got to be with me.
What the hell, man? It's too early in the show for this kind of level of frustration on my end. My God, man, I can't even think. I'd rather hear you talk about Killmonger all day. Man, good Lord, have mercy, man. What was I about to say? Lord, I done lost my train of thought. Okay. Okay, I got it back. Okay. Is there a real possibility that I've heard someone say that Dre might be the one who's going to be the sacrifice in order to find Keisha and not Ronnie? Is that a legit possibility this season?
That Dre's going to be the one that gets sacrificed?
Yep.
That's a legit possibility that she could be the one that gets killed. Yeah, but I still think Ronnie's going to be the one that ends up rescuing her because Ronnie needs his redemption story. Mm-hmm. And so I think this whole season is centered around him finding redemption through saving her. And so I think he's going to be the one that actually gets it done. Dre may end up being there, end up getting killed in the process. I mean, she's sort of, she's relatively new on the scene as a full-time regular like that. So I wouldn't be surprised if she gets taken out. Whoever said that theory, I'm with it. I like it.
Okay. And last point on the Shy.
And Trust the C, talking about T-Streams, call T-Streams for backup. We know what your motivations are, Tressa. We know what you want. Don't try and cover it up with call for backup. You just want us to call.
Hey man, I defends my people. You get off her back, son. You get off her back. She is the reason you got one of your topics back on this show because of Teresa C. Now you get off her and you get back on your crazy ass conspiracy theory. Get off Teresa. I got your back, Teresa. I ain't gonna let this man try to funeral home you over my boy T-String. I ain't gonna let him do it. Now, Larry, this is the last one we got to put to bed. A lot of people really, really want Reg back, and they're throwing wilder theories out there than you are that Reg is going to come back. Is he, in your opinion, coming back this season or not?
Well, see, this is where I talk about my werewolves and my vampires. This is where it could really come in because not only could they bring Reg back, they could bring Brandon back too. Both of them can come back. And no one would have anything to say about it. They would just be vampires or werewolves. They'd come back. It would be completely natural for them at that point to come back. This whole thing about how do we bring someone back from the dead, done. That's it. Werewolves and vampires in Chicago on the South Side. They had vampires in Brooklyn. Why not vampires in Cabrini Greens?
Ladies and gentlemen, I know that this man is killing all his credibility for the next subject we're going to go into, but I will remind you, he's run a small business. He's been in multiple industries in his 50 years of life, so you can trust him except for when it comes to TV shows and movies. And having said that, we're going to the next subject. This is a Teresa C special. And in terms of our expectations for the Shy episode 7, it should be a good one. I hope we find out more about the backstory of Keisha's abductor. I hope he get his ass beat. I hope Emmett get his ass beat, and we'll see what else happens on the show this week.
You know what I do think is going to happen with Emmett, though? I think Emmett's going to end up losing out on the whole thing with Sonny. And he's going to end up losing out on that whole thing. He's going to be stuck with nothing. And I think he's going to end up having to try and go into business with what's his name? What's his girl's name again?
Tiffany.
Tiff. I think he's going to have to try and go in business with Tiff. And I think because he already knows what's his name, Brandon's cousin, the werewolf dude or vampire dude from the other show. I think that might work out well for him for a little while, but he's not gonna stop being the struggle man. He's just, he has a good opportunity right here, but he keeps getting in his own way.
Right.
And, so I think he's gonna lose out on Sonny's bit altogether by the end of this season. And it's unfortunate because I think that, Sonny was doing him right. I mean, Sonny gave him a job with benefits to help take care of his kid and all that. And then as a way of paying that back, he stabs him in the back. So I don't feel anything for Emmett right now. I mean, if Emmett goes out, I don't want to see anything physically bad happen to him. I'm not saying anything like that. But if Emmett just ends up with, getting fired and maybe Sonny's like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead. You screwed me over. I'm going to go ahead and hire your chef. And I'm kicking you to the curb. You know, because Lala is not about. She's not loyal to Emmett. She's loyal to her money. You know, so Sonny really could just be like, you know what? We don't need Emmett. Thanks for the introduction, but we don't need him. You need a kitchen, and you need people that are gonna buy and eat your food. I have that. You have a chef. I'm gonna cook what I'm gonna cook in the daytime, and you can run Sonny's at night, and we'll just make a ton of money together.
Well, here's the thing: if Emmett actually pulls that carpet from underneath Sonny, if they actually let this go through, he need his ass beat. Simple and plain. Sonny need to come personally whip his ass for that, because you mentored this kid only for him to. He didn't just stab him in the back; he sliced his back in half. And me and Larry already wrote a script for Dominique and Emmett and Tiffany. They can go in business with Brandon's cousin, get a food truck, and you get a license, and you sell food off the food truck and weed off the weed truck, and you go mobile. They could have done that, and they could have made a whole brand new story with them three running a truck in Chicago, and that could be a story all by itself. But we'll see where it goes.
Could you imagine though? With that cake that Dominique made, could you imagine they have that cake, THC, a weed infused cake like that?
My Lord,
so you stop at the food truck, you eat that cake, and then you get the munchies because you're high. So you go back, you get some more cake, and then you get hungry again. You can't stop. It's just a vicious cycle. You may weigh 400 pounds by the end of the month, but you just stay happy, hungry, and high.
Hey, I know a lot of people doing that right now with Rona. And speaking of Rona, ladies and gentlemen, we've got to talk about the horrible politics of Rona. I'm going to show you guys a clip. We're moving into our political section. I'm going to show you guys a clip of someone who has been said to have the highest integrity for 3 decades up until now. And I am talking about Dr. Anthony Fauci. He was on Capitol Hill today being grilled wrongly in the manner he was by a punk-ass senator who knows nothing about medicine. I'm going to let Larry go first on this one because y'all know this is going to be good. But take a look at this and then we'll break it down.
You know, I'm not going to opine on who gets arrested and who does not. I mean, you get where I'm going. I'm telling you, as a public health official, I say crowds.
Do you see the inconsistency, though, Dr. Fauci?
There's no inconsistency, Congressman.
So you're allowed to protest millions of people on one day in crowds yelling, screaming, but you try to run your business, you get arrested? And if you stood right outside of that same business and protested, you wouldn't get arrested? You don't see an inconsistency there?
I don't understand what you're asking me as a public health official to opine on who should get arrested or not. That's not my position. You could ask it as much as you
you've
want,
advocated for certain businesses. You've advocated for certain businesses to be shut down. I'm just asking you on your position on the protest. I haven't seen one. We've heard a lot about hair salons. I haven't seen one hairstylist who, between haircuts, goes out and attacks police or sets something on fire. But we've seen all kinds of that stuff during protests, and we know the protest actually increased the spread of the virus. You've said that.
I said crowds. I didn't say specifically. I didn't say protests do anything.
So the protests don't increase the spread of the virus?
I didn't say that. You're putting words in my mouth.
No, I just want an answer to the question. Do the protests increase the spread of the virus?
I don't have any scientific evidence that anything. I can tell you that crowds are known, particularly when you don't have a mask, to increase the acquisition and transmission. No matter what.
So you don't have a position on whether the protests increase the spread of the virus or don't increase the spread of the virus?
I'm saying that crowds, wherever the crowds are, can give you an increased probability that there's going to be acquisition and transmission.
But do you understand Americans' concern? Protesting, particularly according to the Democrats, is just fine, but you can't go to work, you can't go to school, you can't go to church. There's limits placed on all 3 of those fundamental activities, First Amendment activities, but protesting is just fine.
You know, the gentleman's time has expired, but I'll just ask the gentleman to just think about his question and put it in reference to crowds that gather at political meetings, at fundraisers without masks, on an oil rig in Texas, nobody wearing a mask, nobody social distancing, but a fundraiser.
Right.
Would that be problematic? With that, I'll yield 5 minutes to Mr. Foster.
Give it to you first, Larry, before I take a bite out of that cookie.
This is the thing that gets me, right, is these Republicans are out there. Now, mind you, Dr. Fauci is part of this coronavirus task force that is part of the current administration, and they are going after him time and time again, attacking him, trying to erode his credibility. And
well, before you finish, let me give people context. Let me give them context, and it goes with what you're saying. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Fauci has held this same position he holds right now since George Bush daddy. He's been under George Bush daddy.
George H, not W.
Yeah, H. He's been under him. He's been under Clinton. He's been under W, and he's been under Barack Obama. Now he's under Trump. And through all those presidencies, first of all, do you know how hard it is for any administration to keep someone that has been from another political party's administration? That goes to show the man's integrity. That goes to show the man can be trusted. That goes to show you his level of intellect, his level of legacy, and his level of doing his job well. Now back to you, Larry.
Yeah, the thing is they keep trying to destroy his credibility, and the problem is in this time of pandemic, uncertainty, all of this, the last thing that we need is to have our highest infectious disease specialist in the country have his credibility destroyed. The last thing we need is people doubting him. We already have these Republicans out there that are they're upset because people that have hair salons and other places can't go to work. Well, the fact of the matter is those people don't want to abide by social distancing guidelines. They don't want to wear masks. They're doing everything they possibly can to spread this virus. And so when you compare that to a protest, they got upset. They're upset because what happened is that when they had all these Black Lives Matter protests, and even the ones that are still going on, people are outside and they're wearing masks at the same time. So there hasn't been any super spreader events. Now, I'm not going to say there hasn't been some people that went to the protest and got coronavirus, and I'm sure there has been, but we haven't heard about it because there hasn't been any big super spreader events, not like they've had when people have decided to go party out at some Michigan lake or when Trump held his political rally in Tulsa. We know even before they had that rally, there was already a big spreading event. His Secret Service agents got sick before the event even actually occurred. Just yesterday, they're going through this BS today. Just yesterday, we had Herman Cain die from coronavirus that he contracted at that rally. There's a big difference between people holding outdoor protests wearing face masks versus people indoors wearing no masks talking about this is all a hoax and face masks don't help and coronavirus isn't real. They're saying all that stuff, which is complete and utter BS. What they need to understand is that if they would have held the thing outside and like people have been saying to Trump, just move it outside, and people wore masks, maybe they wouldn't have had any people in there getting sick. Maybe they wouldn't have had people dying. Maybe his Secret Service agents wouldn't have, gotten sick. But he didn't even want his Secret Service agents wearing masks, which is why they got sick. So, it's just it's infuriating when you see this. It's because these Republicans are going out there. They're talking about these kids going to school. They don't care about these kids getting an education. What they want is damn babysitters. They want babysitters so the parents can supposedly go to work. What about the teachers? The teachers have to go there. Teachers are not kids. They keep talking about, kids don't get sick as easy. Who in the hell is going to teach these kids when the teachers all get sick? It's just like, it's ridiculous. Donald Trump's kid, his son Barron, their school is not going back to school. They're not going back to in-classroom instruction. They're doing online classes. Mm-hmm. So Donald Trump, while he wants to send everybody else's kids out there to go get sick, while he wants to send everybody else's kids out there to go contract COVID and then bring it home to their family, to their mothers, to their fathers, to their grandparents, to their siblings, while he wants everybody else's kids to go do that. He doesn't want his own kid doing it. The people who run his kid's school are not going to allow that to happen. These Republicans at this point are just freaking evil. They are not patriotic. They are not American. They actually want to hurt and kill Americans at this point. And I don't understand how people don't fucking see it.
Oh, it's simple. Because they know that the majority of the people in their base, the deplorables Hillary Clinton talk about, are not educated individuals. And these educated
They claim to be patriots. They claim to be patriots. How are you a patriot when you are doing things that actively hurt the American people?
Well,
how do you claim to be a patriot when you are actively working against the interest of the American people?
Well, because Larry, that has been a lie the whole time, my brother. It's been a lie the whole time. Basically, you saying you're a patriot, you might as well say I'm for the superiority of white people. That's basically what it was saying. Now, I don't know anyone who flies a "Don't Dread on Me" flag that doesn't associate himself with these white nationalist types. And because Republicans have been able to placate these individuals so much, they can send them a bullshit story and they eat it up as if it's fact and it's not. As if it's fact and it's not. And now you've actually got a storyteller in the White House who knows that how dumb the base is, and he's placating them. As Larry said, the definition, and hell, wearing a mask ain't even just patriotic. That's just common courtesy. That's just common courtesy, period. Forget the patriotic part. How about the common courtesy of trying to help the country get back going, trying to help save your neighbor? That has nothing to do per se with patriotism and everything to do with just being common and just having courtesy. It's never been about this BS about, oh, I need my rights to do what I want. Your rights stop when what you do has the ability to hurt people. That's where your rights end. And it makes no sense to me why we've got rules about having a mask, but we're not going to enforce them. If we're going to tell people to wear the mask, the rules got to be enforced. And that's some of the issues we're having here with this whole thing.
And here's the thing: when people were protesting, were protesting about trying to go back to work, they were up there with their guns, rolling up in the governor's offices and rolling up on places, not wearing masks. They were screaming and shouting in police officers' faces, not wearing masks. This is how fucked up and racist this country is. They didn't do jack shit to those people. Those cops stood there and let them breathe all that corona. They let them spew all that virus on them and didn't do a damn thing. They just sat there. But black people go out into the streets, not just black people, black, whites, Mexicans, Asians, Hispanics, Puerto Ricans, Koreans, Laotians, everybody. People hit the streets to say Black Lives Matter. And all of a sudden, what do we see? We see the cops out there ripping people's face masks off so they can spray them with tear gas. I mean, they literally gassed the American people. Tear gas is not even legal to use in war. The U.S. military is not even authorized to use tear gas because it is considered chemical warfare. But Trump authorized the gassing of his own countrymen on the streets because he is a friggin' fascist dictator. That's what he wants to be. And we need to be extremely careful of this man. And I will say this now, and I will say this again. Please take your ass out there and vote in November. If you are not registered to vote, get registered now. If you have never voted before, vote. If you have voted every other time, vote. If you always vote, continue to always vote and tell everybody else, vote. If you are a felon and you can't vote, go tell your homeboy and your homegirl and your sister and your cousin and your grandmother, whoever it is that doesn't vote, tell them to go vote for you. You know, vote.
Vote, ladies and gentlemen. Get this craziness out the White House, and let's hope that we can start to get this country to turn around, because what we're seeing right now is the destruction of facts. The destruction of facts is what we're seeing right now, and being replaced with affirmation. And the country cannot survive like that. The more we go down that road, the more someone else is going to pop up beat our ass, and become the superpower. Ladies and gentlemen, how many of you go to your doctor and they say do X, Y, and Z, and then you look them straight in the face and say, nah, I ain't gonna do that. First Amendment right. Well, why the hell you ask me for my advice? I mean, what the hell you in here talking about you sick for if you're not gonna listen to what I'm trying to tell you to do to prevent you from being sick at a longer rate? Folks, vote, get this craziness out of the White House, and not only get it out, we want to crush it. We want to send a resounding defeat that the lowest common denominators in this country are really the lowest common denominators, and they are not what's ruling the country.
Understand this too, that it's one thing when us black people and minorities as a whole to a certain extent have fully understood what the Republican Party is, who the Republicans are. We have known this. We have known it. They have shown it to us before, but we have known it. Other people have said, oh, no, that's not it. That's just a small, that's just a small fringe element of their party. Well, now there is no saying this is a small fringe element of their party. This is their party's base. This is their platform, is racism and bigotry. And it's not just racism and bigotry. They hate you too. White people out there who are not racist, they hate you. Just like when back in the day in the 60s and 70s, they called you nigger lovers, and they hate you too. And the fact that you know how they hate you, because they hate themselves. That's why they won't put on a damn face mask. That's why they don't care about spreading the virus and killing themselves. They don't love themselves. And when you don't love yourselves, you can't love others. They hate them. They hate you because they hate themselves. And the only thing we can do is get them out of office. We can put them back under the rock where they were and where they belong, and try and help them get to a place where they can love themselves. So maybe then they can stop this foolishness. But the fact of the matter is, all the stuff that they do, when you see what they're doing, they are doing what they're doing because they don't care about you. When we are told to wear a face mask, because the face mask doesn't necessarily protect us, it protects the people around us. And when the people around us protect us and we protect them, everybody's protected. But the fact that they won't do that says they don't give a flying frog's fart towards you. And that you should remember that. When November comes, you need to remember that.
Remember it. Take it to the box. Matter of fact, contribute to the other man's campaign. Do all you can. Hell, get out and help find other people. Get in there and take this country back to where Barack Obama was leading the country, ladies and gentlemen, and defeat these clowns. What is going to make them wake up a little bit is a crushing defeat. I want to see Texas flip. I want to see Georgia flip. I want to see Florida go Democratic. You have got to crush them. Give them no hope, because the only thing that is keeping them going right now is Trump inciting fear. That's the only thing that's keeping them going. And having said that, Larry, I'm going to take us to a more lighter note. We're done with politics, but we ain't done permanently. We're done tonight. But because my subscriber requested it, y'all are going to see a whole lot more of it coming up, leading up to the election, because this one is the biggest one we've got so far. We've got a little bit of Marvel news for my people out there that follow the comics. Larry, there is a character coming to Disney Plus for Marvel called Moon Knight. He's kind of their equivalent to Batman. In the comic books, he's extremely gory. He's extremely cutthroat, kind of like Batman. And we've got some updates about him that we're going to check out right now. And it comes from our big homie, I Love You 3000 Theories. Y'all seen him a couple of Fridays ago. Take a look.
Today we're going to be covering a new plot leak for Moon Knight. But before we start, let me give the normal spoiler warning. This plot leak is coming from 4chan, and although that in no way automatically proves it's true or discredits it altogether, please take this with a grain of salt. Now let's get started. The main plot of the show is Mark Spector shares a psychic connection with both Stained Glass Scarlet and Khonshu, and they manipulate him for their own gains, which leads to Mark having a psychic breakdown. Due to this, Mark can't differentiate between what is real and what is not, and will have hallucinations and begin to doubt his own past. So to end this, he decides to go to all his associates and contacts, and also his personalities, to find the truth about his past and also his state. Bushman and Khonshu will be minor villains. Stake, the sister organization of S.H.I.E.L.D., will debut in the show, and the narrative style will be similar to Westworld and Pulp Fiction. We'll also see our first vampires in the show. Now there's a lot of new information and characters in this which most people might not be familiar with, so let me break it all down. First, Stained Glass Scarlet is an ex-nun who became a vigilante after being forced to kill her criminal son, Joseph Mad Dog Fazenera. Scarlet was trained in combat when she became a prison guard in a women's prison, and although she doesn't have any powers, she does have a psychic connection to Moon Knight. The second character mentioned is Khonshu, the god of the moon, who in the comics resurrected Mark Spector and blessed him with superhuman powers and abilities. The leak goes on to mention that Bushman and Khonshu will be minor villains, and Raoul Bushman is a mercenary and also the man who killed Mark Spector. The Special Threat Assessment for Known Extranormalities, aka Stake, was a S.H.I.E.L.D. project inspired by Dum Dum Dugan's Howling Commandos, which focused on dealing with supernatural occurrences, and it leads straight into the next part, which says that vampires will appear. And as you can obviously tell from the name Stake, they deal with killing vampires and werewolves and any other deadly creatures. And lastly, Moon Knight will lead directly into Blade. So let me know what you guys think about all this. Are you excited for Moon Knight and Blade? And do you think that Marvel will be able to pull them off with a PG-13 rating? Especially with how brutal Moon Knight is known to be in the comics.
Man, Larry, I'm excited for it, but I'm with our homeboy. I have no idea how they're going to be able to pull that off, because Moon Knight is supposed to be leading up to the team that's going to be Blade, Moon Knight, Ghost Rider, and one of the other supernatural characters. And I think they was planning on making them rated R. And with all the different things that's going to be in this Moon Knight show, I don't see how they make it, PG. Well, I guess they can make it PG, but I wouldn't be opposed to them making it rated R. So my question to you is, are you excited for it? And would you rather see it PG or rated R?
Well, I would probably rather see it rated R so it can be truer to the way the comics are. But the problem is that when you make it rated R, it's not going to be on as many screens. And if it goes, we're still in the current situation that we are for God knows how long. Anyways, even if it's not, eventually it's going to go to Disney Plus. And what is Disney Plus going to do about that? Because I don't think Disney Plus has any rated R content on their platform.
Nope.
So, I mean, right now, Disney Plus is a pretty safe place where parents can just say, go and actually watch whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
And, so if you start putting rated R content on there, not only is it just what are they going to do with it? Now Disney Plus actually has to start creating, new whatever I forgot how you call those new parental restrictions. They have to start building those.
They already
into
got
the actual app.
They already got that. They already got that. So you can have a kid. You can have your kid. Have a profile, and it restricts it to just PG and lower.
Okay.
And then you can have your profile that covers everything.
Right. Okay. Well, I mean, I would like to see it rated R because I think it would be interesting, especially when you start talking about Blade and such. But we'll see how it goes. But I will say, since they're bringing in, they're working their way into introducing the vampires into this. Why not have a mashup with the Shy? We already talked about Brandon.
God.
We already talked about Brandon being a vampire. We talked about Reg coming back as one. Why not bring them all over? Why not? It sounds like the perfect opportunity.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was the quickest Marvel segment you have ever heard in your life. We're done with Marvel. Man, there's no way that Marvel is gonna mash up with the Shy. It's not happening. It's not going to happen, Captain.
We have Blade, who's a black vampire. Why not have him how about Blade ends up going to Chicago for some reason, and he ends up there around, we have to go back in time a little, but he ends up there around the time, and he needs a couple of dudes to bring back with him. So he grabs Brandon. He knows Brandon's about to die. So boom, bites Brandon, turns him. He sees Reg. Reg just got shot up on the streets. He drags Reg into an alley, says, you can live, you can die. What do you want? The dude says, save me. Boom, bites him. Now we have Reg and Brandon back in the mix, both vampires. They can be in the Marvel universe too, and then they can come back on the Shy next season. We have vampires in Chicago. I'm telling you, man, the spinoff is there. The stories are there. All I need is a desk in that writer's room. It's there. We got this. All you need to do, you need to believe this. You need to believe this, Lamont, and we could be there together in that writer's room writing the next spinoff, a supernatural Marvel The Chi mashup.
Well, I'm going to ask you to start emailing Lena Waithe and the producers of The Chi and see if you can make that happen. And I'll show up with you and use my creativity to make up some stories too. But as of right now, man, you crazy.
Oh, and how about this one? Since I'm crazy, how about this one? Since we're doing vampires, since we already got the vampires from The Chi, how about they go ahead, bite Lala, she turns into a vampire too, and then she goes over to P Valley. And now we have a black version of From Dusk to Dawn.
But Larry, you got to think about what you're saying. Lala got more plastic than a Rubbermaid shop. Are they going to even be able to pierce that and get to the blood?
That I don't know. I do not know.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what's in Larry's cup tonight, but I would suggest that, you don't drink anything that he's got in this cup tonight. And we're going to move to the last subject, and there's no way he will be able to bring vampires into this last subject. Last subject of the night, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about stocks. We've got some big news for you. We're going to follow up on that lead stock we talked about Wednesday. But before we go there, please subscribe to this channel. Subscribe to Larry's channel because the man is nuts. And Apple
right quick, before we dive too deep into the stocks, I want to say one quick thing about it.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to interrupt you when you go in there. So when they how they do they do the regular trading and they do after hours trading, right?
Yeah.
So the after hours trading was actually designed so that vampires could trade because they're always asleep in the daytime. So I'm just saying, you said I couldn't bring vampires in, and there was no way. I just did it. Booyah! Let's go.
People, next week I'll make sure that man has his vaccinations in place before I let him get on these airways and worry y'all. But he sent me a story this week. Apple is doing a 4-to-1 stock split. And what does that mean for you? It means big opportunity. So let us break it down for you. What's going on, what it means when the company splits the stock. We've got this story for you. Take a look at this, and then we will break it all down and discuss it.
Do you put any distinction between these four companies? Meaning, you look at an Alphabet. It was a bit more of a mixed quarter. It's a different business, obviously, than Apple. Apple,
Right.
Different business than Amazon. Amazon, a different business than Facebook.
Yeah, look, Alphabet is totally beholden to advertising. And if Ruth Porat hadn't talked about how the last 7 weeks were good, that stock would be down substantially. Brian Olsavsky is an unheralded hero. He's the CFO of Amazon, and what he does is lay out the fact that basically they're spending all this money on trying to keep workers safe. What they didn't realize was that the whole country, if not the whole world, is going to Amazon. It's a very humble call. The humility there is amazing. Facebook was all about small, medium-sized business. Everybody decided that it was about whether Verizon was going to advertise or not. Again, no intellectual rigor, no realizing how this company makes money. I do not understand how these people can even come to work.
Right.
I mean, who are they?
Jim, we got to go, but you think Amazon's going to split? You saw what Apple just did.
Look, Apple cares about the little guy. Amazon is not focused on that. They're focused on getting the goods to the little guy. I think Apple's taking the right move. Tim told me last night, hey, you know what? I want more people in the stock. These other companies should do that, too. They think they're like Warren Buffett. They should just split.
Stocks go up, they go down, they go sideways, and sometimes they do something you might not expect. They split. There are two types of stock splits: conventional and reverse. A conventional stock split occurs when a company divides its existing shares into more shares. The number of shares increases, but the price of each share decreases, so the total value of the company's shares remains the same. Think of it like cutting a cake. Cutting more pieces doesn't mean you have less cake. You just have smaller pieces. For example, in June 2014, Apple split 7-for-1, meaning each share became 7. Apple went from having roughly 861 million outstanding shares at about $645 per share to about 6 billion shares at about $92 per share. Despite there being more shares, the total value of Apple's market cap remained the same at roughly $555 billion. A company typically splits its stock when the price of its shares is high. High prices can make it difficult for many investors to buy the standard trading unit of 100 shares. Ideally, a lower price allows more investors to buy the stock. potentially increasing its liquidity. So what happens if you own a stock that splits? Just like a split doesn't change the total value of the company's shares, it doesn't change the total value of your shares. Let's return to the Apple example. If you had owned one share at $645 before the split, you would have owned 7 shares at around $92 after the split, give or take a few cents when rounding the numbers. The total value of the shares would still be $645. One common belief that investors have regarding stock splits is that a stock's price will go up after a split. Although some studies show that stocks that split outperform in the years following, a stock split is not a guarantee that a stock's value will go up. Investors should do additional research and look at the stock's overall financial health. The opposite of a conventional stock split is a reverse stock split. During a reverse stock split, a company decreases its number of shares in order to increase the price of each share. Companies often choose to enact a reverse stock split when shares fall below the minimum price of the exchange listing requirements. Stocks that fall below the exchange minimum are in danger of being delisted, which means they can't be traded on the exchange. For instance, in July 2009, the center of the financial crisis, the American International Group, or AIG, reverse split its shares 1 for 20 to stabilize its stock price. Investors who owned 20 shares valued at about $1 before the split owned 1 share worth roughly $23 after the split. Though AIG hoped that a higher price would attract investors and reduce volatility, the stock continued to fall. In the end, if you own a stock that splits, the value of your investment will remain the same.
So we wanted to let you guys know Apple is doing a 4-to-1 split the end of August. And if they've been too expensive for you to get in the game, this is going to be a perfect opportunity for you to buy some, probably somewhere around $115. Larry, drop your advice on this happening to Apple for a second time.
Yeah, this happened back. I mean, it was a while back when it happened the last time, and they said I think it was 2014. So, but if you look at that, they said it was at $600 and some a share in 2014 when they did a 7-to-1 split. It's back up now. Today it closed, I think, at 210, something like that. I mean, excuse me, 410.
And
so
yeah, and this has only been 6 years.
Right. Yeah, 6 years. So it's gone back up. So I mean, if you bought, I don't know, if you had 100 shares of Apple stock back in the day when it split, then you had 700 shares. Now your 700 shares, that's worth another, instead of being worth whatever, from
$92,
$92, now it's worth $400 and some for all those shares, and they're about to split again to 4-to-1. So I mean, this is one of those ways where people that have money and they have stock they can hold on to, and they get those split, and then the split splits, and then the split splits. You can end up being a millionaire just by sitting on a stock for a long time. And I mean, at this point, I really feel like, it's expensive. I mean, at $400 some a share, it's a lot of money. I'm not really looking forward to coming out of pocket that much to buy a few shares, but the way I'm looking at it, I think what I'll probably end up doing is waiting for a little bit of a lull when things dip a little bit and when there's a little bit of a quiet time in the market, and hope that I can get some Apple stock a little bit between, below 400. I'm hoping it dips and I can get it maybe at like 385 or something like that, and then pick up a few shares and then hold it and then wait for the split, because I think it's going to go back up. I think right after it splits, I think it's not going to shoot back up to $400, but I think right after it splits, if it splits at today at like 400, I think at 410, it would be, I think it would be like 102.
Yeah.
What is it, like 230 something like that a share? So, but I think when you get to a stock price for Apple at $102, there's going to be a lot of people that have been wanting in on Apple that can now afford to buy it, and they will. I think there's going to be a mad rush to get some of that stock, and it's going to send the prices right back up there again. I mean, I honestly, I would not be at all surprised if Apple split that stock at the end of August, and before the end of the year, it's doubled again. I wouldn't be at all surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised either, which is why we're encouraging everyone, if you ever want to get in on a staple blue chip stock, Apple is the largest corporation in the world, the largest. save some money, put aside about $1,000 or whatever you can put aside, and buy up that Apple stock at the end of August. I know we're going to do it. I mean, I've got shares of Apple right now that I've just been sitting on. And when they split, I'm going to buy some more. And I might sell off some of them because, like they said, historically, when a stock split happens, the next couple of months, the stock takes a run up. That's the history on most stocks that split. Because in order for a stock to get to a certain price point, you've got to be a solid company. I mean, a very solid company. Google's
we're talking about
done
conventional splits, not reverse splits.
Right, conventional splits. Conventional splits. So definitely get your money together. Get ready to jump on that train and get you some stock. And Larry, we want to visit. I did a put with Larry last week. So Larry, walk us through what you want to know about that put I did with you. It was Fiat Chrysler.
Right. So yeah, show us everything. Let's talk about what we did, how it turned out, and why it turned out the way it did.
Okay, so we did, and by the way, my folk Howard McQuarters, Larry, asked us, could we do one show out of the week, one segment about stocks where we take people's calls to help them better understand certain things, ask us questions, and I'm all for it if you all for it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yep. So next Wednesday,
we are not financial experts. We are not fiduciaries. We are not licensed brokers or financial advisors. So take whatever we say with a grain of salt. Do your own research and come up with your own conclusions. And because we don't want to get we don't want to get ourselves in trouble, and we don't want anybody else getting in financial trouble because you went and took a second on your house and invested in something that didn't work out. So
yeah, don't do that, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, don't do that. But we will give you insight on what works for us and what's been working. So if you want us to speak with us live on the show next week and you have my contact information, email me. If not, send me a message on the gram with your phone number and we will call you. But me and Larry did a put last week because I was trying to walk Larry through it to get his feet wet. We did a put on Chrysler Fiat. And at the time we did the put, it was $11.10. So when you do a put, a cash secured put, you're basically having to put up the collateral for 100 shares. So I put up like $1,100 for the Fiat. But when you do that, they give you a premium payment right then on the spot. So for that put, I got $25 and I gave it to Larry to say, here, this is how you do it. This is how it works. Let's do it. Now, two things happen. Either it's going to expire the day you set an expiration date, and his put expired today at 4:30. And if it expires above what we set as a strike price, which was $10.50, then you get your collateral back. If it goes below the $10.50, which this particular stock did go, it went down to $10.25. You wind up having to buy the shares at $10.50. And like I told Larry, don't sweat it. As long as you pick a good company, a company that has a great track record, a company that doesn't have a 5-year history of losing money, you're going to be in the good. So from that point now, the only thing I've done, now that I've got the 100 shares of stock, all I'm going to do is turn around and sell a call. And the difference between selling a call versus selling a put, with the put, you use cash as your collateral. With a call, you're using your stock as the collateral. So you do the opposite of what you do with a put. So now I'm betting that the stock is going to go up. So I set a price higher than what I paid for it. And I put the stocks out there for sale. And they pay you a premium up front again. It's not as much as what we got paid last week, but a premium nonetheless. And then you just wait to see if somebody's going to buy that stock at the $11 price. And if not, it expires and you still hold the stocks, but you also get to keep the premium paid for you putting your stocks out there. And that's what I'm doing right now. So I put a bid up for this stock at $11.50, which is $1 more per share than what I got it for. And one thing that I noticed this week, this wasn't a good week for anybody in cars, not Tesla, not NIO, not Workhorse, not GM. This wasn't a good week for anybody. So for all of you that got that lease stock, just be patient. because when it comes to
picking up some more,
and you probably should, for everybody who's involved in anything dealing with the future tech of cars, from Tesla, Neo, Workhorse, Lee. When Tesla has great weeks, everybody else has great weeks too. Tesla is a trendsetter in the EV world. So if you got the Lee stock, just sit on it and just wait, and it will go back up. Just sit on it and wait. And when it hits a price that you're comfortable with, sell it. But if you believe that EVs are the future, which they are, and you want to hold this thing for a decade and let the stock get from $15 to maybe one day $600, just sit on it. Throw away the key. But me personally, I'm very leveraged in tech car companies. I've got Tesla, a lot of it. I've got Neo, a lot of it. I've got Workhorse. I've got Blink. I've got Plug. And now I got Lee. And now, because of Larry craziness, I'm stuck with Fiat Chrysler. So I'm very car heavy. So the minute mine goes up at least $5, I'm selling. I mean, because that's a lot of money. I got them all at 100 shares. So I'll take that money and be happy and then move on to something else. But if you got the lead, ladies and gentlemen, just sit on it and enjoy it, because it will go up.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna pick up some. Some more Lee, and I think I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with them. How much I want to get, because
it's still not down.
Really,
right. Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I was gonna say my next moves are probably to get some Lee, some more Lee, and probably buy a few shares of Apple. I don't know how much I'm gonna get. I mean, honestly, at $400 a share, I probably only pick up like 5 shares, because
why don't you just
that's a nice chunk of change.
Why don't you just wait for the split?
Because I think the stock's going to run back up right after the split. So I figure if I can get in, if I can get in at a let's say because this is what's going to happen. This is what I've seen generally happen with splits, is that right before when people know there's a split, right before the split comes, there's a little bit of a run up on it. Like if let's say that the stock price, let's say it drops down a little bit, and I think the reason why it's up so high is because they had their earnings report and it came out really well. So if it dips down a little bit again, let's say it dips down to like 380, 385, it may go there and fluctuate a little bit. But then right before it splits, if people know the split's coming, and say August 31st, probably around August 20th, August 25th, whatever, around that time, people are going to start buying it. And it's going to start, the price is going to start going back up. And then when it splits, so now, if you bought it a little bit lower, and then the stock goes back up, and let's say when it finally splits, it's at 420. Well, that's just, you own more shares that are worth more. So, and then it's just going to run up again. I honestly believe as soon as that splits, when it hits $100, because if it stays around this price and it splits if it splits at 3, if it's at 3 something when it splits, it's going to be like it was in the past. It's going to be like $90-some a share, and people are going to go crazy buying it. And I think one of the things that's different nowadays than it was before, there's a whole lot more retail investors today than there was back in 2014, and there's going to be a lot of people snatching that up.
Yeah. Now, me personally, I don't see this unless we have some crazy situation happening in the world. I don't see the stock going back below 390. I just don't, because as more and more people find out that they're going to do this split, more people are going to do what you're thinking, Larry. They're going to try to buy it up because they know the day that the split happens, the minute they ring that bell, that thing is going to start going straight up. It's just going to start taking off like a rocket ship, and people probably going to want to be on for those gains, so they might just go ahead and buy them up all right now.
They might.
I know I'm going to get some. So for
when it dips below 4, I'm buying some. As soon as it dips below, I mean, if it just keeps going up, it's at 4. I think it's at, what is it at now? Let me look it up. It's at it closed at 427 today, actually.
Good.
So if it,
God Almighty,
it opened at 384 and it closed at 4 at 4. But here's this: its 52-week low was 192.
Yeah, that was correct. That was correct.
I mean, at below $200.
That was Corona. Man. That was March. That was March, man, when everything was low in March. I mean, everything was low in March.
That's great. So, so my thought is that if it dips, if at some point it dips below, if it dips below 400, I'll probably pick up some shares and just sit on them and wait. And then I'll wait for the split to happen. And when it splits, if it splits and it's like $90-some a share, $100 a share, then I'll buy some more.
Okay.
And then I'm just gonna. But that's one of those things where when I get it, I don't plan on doing anything with it except sitting on it for the next 10 years. You know. And I'm just gonna sit on it and just wait for it, to grow.
That's one of the ones that I'm going to sit on too. And so for those of you wanting to know what my plays are going to be in August, I've only got 2 plays for August. Number one, buying up stock of Apple. That's a play for me. And the other one is I am going to record live with Larry, and then I'm going to put it up here as a video. I am going to do a pretty big option trade for Facebook because the implied volatility on Facebook right now is through the roof. And when you have that type of volatility, it makes your premium price go up. And so premium price on Facebook, if you do the one contract, you can make $1,600 a week. So sometime by the first week of August or the second week, I'm going to record a video with Larry when I actually put in a put for Facebook, and that's going to cost me $26,000. I'm going to put in a put for Facebook, and I'm going to do it week to week to week, and hopefully run away that month with, basically almost $6,000. Because, ladies and gentlemen, that's the power of the stock market. Simple and plain.
That would be incredible.
And then, other than that, the only other thing, unless a big deal happens, ladies and gentlemen, my only other play I'm doing this month is I'm buying Apple. And I'm probably going to spend some cash on Apple with the money I get back from Larry's crazy Fiat Chrysler. When I get that sold, that's going to be Apple money. And I'm probably going to trim back my lease stock if it goes up, like I said, $5 more. But any more cash I secure that doesn't involve my option with Facebook, I'm definitely buying nothing but Apple stock. I don't care what the price goes up to before the split. Because the only thing that's going to happen is it's just going to go higher after the split. Like Larry said, you have access to so many retail investors, meaning that you've got the Robinhood app people, you've got the Webull app people, everything's online. This ain't like back in the day when you needed a stock, you'd either had to mail it in or go to your stockbroker. It ain't like that no more. Right. So now that more people are in,
the other thing that's really brought in a lot of retail investors is that you can make trades for free now. Back in the day, it used to cost you a considerable amount of money to actually, because you had to call into your broker and actually, initiate a trade. And then when they went online, they had, some of these low cost trades. At first, it started off, I think it was like $10 a trade. Then it was $8 a trade. And then it was $5. And now then they start going down and down. Now it's nothing. It doesn't cost you anything to trade. So, so now there's just a whole lot of people that are in there like, well, there's no, for a lot of people, they're not seeing any real downside, especially if they're investing in companies like Lamont's talking about, these blue chips, like Alphabet and Apple and Facebook and Tesla. They're like, there's no real downside. They put their money in there. And even if they can't, if they can't just flip it over a day or a week, they just sit on it for a little while. As long as you're not investing money that you need for your rent at the end of the month, you're good to go.
Just sit on it. Ladies and gentlemen, when you do cash secured puts, the only thing you stand to lose if you pick a good company is time. That's all you stand to lose. A little bit of time. And Trisha C, sell whatever you have in Kodak right now. Because the FCC.
Well, let me ask, what'd you buy it at? What'd you buy it at before you decide you're going to sell it right now?
No, she bought it for something like $1 or something. She bought it way back. It is time to sell it now because there was some tampering done by our president trying to have a former film company that went bankrupt trying to do some vaccine procurement. And that CEO did an interview the other day where he did everything but not look at the camera. If you're one of those people that examine body language, clearly you would have known that he was fronting, he was lying, and he got insider information. So yeah, she got it for $230. So now Trisha C, it's time to get out of there before they pull the carpet from underneath you, man. Get on out of there.
Trisha C, how many shares do you have? How many shares do you have?
Yeah, Trisha, how many shares you got? And while she's clicking the button, if anybody who has Kodak right now, and because it ended today around $36, $35.
Well, I don't know what. Yeah, let's see what it ended, because I know at one point it had dropped down to. It had dropped all the way down to like 20 something. Yeah, it's down. It dropped down to 21.
Oh yeah, Trisha C, get out of there tonight. Hit your button.
200 shares.
Yeah,
I would trim that. I would seriously trim it. I would cut it. I would cut it at least in half. Maybe even drop. Maybe even sell 150 shares.
Yeah, something like that. It's not. Trisha, only keep 25 shares. Get rid of it and take the rest of your money and go buy Apple. Get rid of it.
Thing, it's not gonna. Even if she sells 150 shares, it's not gonna. She's not going to lose anything, because I don't think the stock's going to drop below 235 or 230 anytime soon. It's going to be, I think that stock price is probably going to level out at about $18 a share. And so even if she keeps an extra 50 shares, in the event that it goes back up, because one of the reasons why it's expensive is why it went up is they got that contract with the government to produce a chemical that's going to be used in these vaccines. So when they actually start, assuming that this chemical that they're going to need actually starts going out and they start mass producing it, the stock might actually go back up then. And so you don't want to close out your position. And if you have 50 shares and it jumps back up to $50 a share, then you just sell off another half. You sell off another 25 shares.
So Larry is a more trusting man than me. I don't trust Kodak. I don't.
I don't trust him either. That's why I don't trust sell the bulk of it.
I don't trust Kodak. I don't want to have nothing to do with that ship. The best guidance I will give you that correlates with what Larry's saying, trim that thing down to about 25 shares and then just watch it every day. Watch the news, listen to us. And as we see the house on fire, we'll let you know when you need to jump out, because that thing is going to be on fire. I think they took that money. The government gave them a 25-year loan, ladies and gentlemen, to do something that this company has never done. And I don't see it working out. I don't. But I mean, the kind of money that Trump gave his buddy at Kodak is the kind of money that could sustain a company for at least 5-6 years. He gave them a shit ton of money, like $800 million for 25 years. So at the very least, you'll have something for the next 10 years. It's just a matter of you're just going to have to watch it. But right now, the stock is probably not going to go up any higher. The hype machine hit. Trisha, pull your money out. Yep. I'm with her, man. And take your good funds, go get you some Apple, and sit back and watch that stock split up and watch your money pile up like 50 cents.
Well, I mean, there is that. I personally I would hold on to 50 shares instead of 25, because if in the event that it does happen to go back up at a later date, I think when you have like 25 shares, the only place to go after that is just to close your position. And so I'm thinking if you have at least 50 shares, it gives you a little room to sell again. If it runs back up to $50 at some point, then you can sell it. You can at least sell 25 shares at $50. And I mean, let's see, 50 times. 50 times 25, that's $1,250, and you bought it for $235. I mean, that's 100 times your
see Trisha, so, Larry is the dude you don't go to the casino with. You know what I'm saying? You take me, because if I win a nickel, I quit. Larry is the guy that's going to sit at that table and let the house get all their money back. He's that guy.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
You take me to the casino with you.
I'm saying take it. So if you go to the casino and you win $100, what I'm saying is take take 50 or maybe even, take 50 or 75 and put that in your pocket. And then you gamble with the other 25. And if you run that other 25 back up to another $100, then you take another 75 and put it in your pocket and you run that and you play with the other 25 and you just keep doing that. So if you end up with, if you have 200 and you sell 150 shares and then it runs back up, you sell 25 of those 50. And you make a little bit more money, or you close out your position and make more money.
Yeah.
Either way, it's your stock. You do what you want to do. Either way, I think Lamont's right in the sense that it's probably a good time. To be honest with you, if you bought those shares at 2 something, and you saw that going up, you probably should have sold it when it hit its peak because it got up to $50, and you would have really made some nice change. So. For all those who don't have it, what you really should do for every single position in your portfolio is whatever stock app you have, set a trigger on there. Go in there and set a trigger. If you bought a stock at $5 and you're thinking, I might want to start selling this if it hits $10 or $12 or whatever. Put a trigger on there so that you get a notification saying, hey, let me know when this stock hits at or above whatever that price is. That way, if you're not paying any attention, you're just at work doing your thing, and all of a sudden you get a notification on your phone that says, "Oh, look at that! My stock in Universal, in Universal Entertainment just went up to whatever I said." Then you can start watching the stock, or you can go Google and see why is the stock moving. And you might decide, oh, okay, I want to keep this because I think it's going to go back. I think it's going to continue to move up. Or you can realize, I think it's going to move up to a certain point because whatever is just a quick run up, and maybe it's a good time to trim your position and reduce it and take some profits. So,
yeah.
But you should definitely make sure that you have all your triggers set so that at a certain dollar amount, so that you don't let something like a $50 stock price get past you on something like Kodak.
Absolutely. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm glad Larry does this with me because that's one that was so succinct to me. I didn't translate that to you guys because to me, I'm just thinking everybody knows to do that. But yeah, you set a trigger. I watch stocks I go look at my portfolio. Probably it's the third thing I look at after I brush my teeth in the morning before I work out. It's the third thing I look at because I'm trying to see what's trending. And I wish I could figure out some of these trends earlier in the morning so that I could do maybe 1 or 2 day trades. But I'm not a big day trader unless it's a new IPO or unless it's a stock split. That's pretty much the only time you guys are going to hear me say that I've done something where I bought a stock early in the day, then I sold it later in the day. Those are 2 big opportunities because historically, when those things happen with the right companies, the stock goes up shortly after the IPO. So that's why I do those, but definitely set your triggers, man. So Larry, what you got good this weekend, man? I'm going to get on out of here, get ready for my baby care shift.
Man, not much. I'm just going to, I have my show tomorrow night. So if you guys want to come check in with me on my channel down today, I feel like I'll be on tomorrow at 9 live with Pajama. We're going to sit around and talk about movies and TV shows and discuss stuff. This week we are watching Psych 2, Lassie Come Home. It's a movie that's on the Peacock Network. I don't know if any of you were fans of that TV show Psych back in the day. If you did, they've done a couple of TV movies in the last couple of years, and this is one of them. So we're going to do that. We're going to talk about Penny Dreadful. So that's Virgo Smith actually recommended that. I see Virgo up in the comments section. So that's on our list. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about the Umbrella Academy season 2, which is out on Netflix. Oh, also, by the way, Penny Dreadful, I believe is on, I think it's on HBO. It's HBO or Showtime, one of those 2. And then we're going to talk about the Umbrella Academy, which is on Netflix. There's one other movie that we are going to watch. I can't remember what it is. I already watched it, but let's see, what is it? Oh, Palm Springs. It's a movie that's out. It's on Hulu. It's an Adam Sandberg. It's an Adam Sandberg movie, and It's funny. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. It's a good movie. I think you guys might enjoy it if you watch it. So we're going to talk about all of them. We're just going to hop in. We just get in there and BS and talk about stuff, say what we like, what we don't like. Sometimes we agree. Sometimes we really get into heated arguments about it, so pop in, have some fun.
Yep. All right. Well, get us on out of here, Larry.
All right, everyone. It's been real. Remember, as always, mask up. Over your mouth, over your nose, mask up, and stay together, stay peaceful, stay stay in yourself, and remember, Black Lives Matter. And until next time, love, peace, and hair grease. Peace.
Peace.